Okay, everybody, I am back. Am I on the right page now? I'm not sure how I did that. I just know that I did. Am I on the City Museum Facebook page? HL, did you get to me through City Museum? Maria, did you get to me through City Museum? Am I on the right page? Hi, Timo. Hi, Josh. Hi, Tim. Okay, so yes, I am on the right page now, right? Hi, April. All right, thank you, Tim. Cool. All right, so I'm going to give you my little, weird. Okay, I'm going to give you my little spiel again. Hello, and welcome to Musings with Stephanie and Maria, version 4.0 or something. Aren't we on week 3 or week 4 now? I'm beginning to lose track. So my name is Stephanie. You probably know me. Along with my friend and colleague, hello, Bosnian Horticulture. Hi, Kim. Hi, Josh. Bosnian Horticulture, how exciting. Anyway, there's Nancy. All right, so we're finding us again. Hi, Maria. Okay, so I asked a little bit ago. Let me start over. My name is Stephanie Vondrasik. I am the retail director and historian by virtue of tenacity at City Museum, along with my friend and colleague, Maria Casserly, who is the tour manager and chief archivist for City Museum. We kind of do these little musings 3 times a week, and usually something connected with the museum. At least we give that a shot. So, glad to see you all. I hope that if any of you I hope you're all doing something creative during this self-imposed quarantine period. Honestly, I think sometimes just getting up is creative enough. But, you know, we get through the day and it's amazing how many more things that at least I know that I notice. So that's kind of neat. Anyway, so we've been doing musings for several weeks now. And for the past couple of Mondays, I have kind of delved into some personal collections. Because the personal collections are such an important part of the City Museum experience. You know, huge portions of the museum are based upon other people's collections. And if you haven't gotten a chance to watch the last 2 Fridays, the Friday noon special with the Bug Room with George and CJ, those are really good presentations, and you might want to take a look if you got a half an hour. Hi, Lori. Miss Lori is our beloved front desk gal, and I miss seeing you. Anyway, so the last couple of Mondays, I have talked about some personal collections and whatnot. They kind of have a little bit collections you won't see in the museum. Have a little bit of a tie to City Museum, but I'm kind of running out of things that connect, you know, rather than just stuff that I have. So last night I got to thinking, hi, Amy. Last night I got to thinking about our big boy at the museum, our big boy statue. So, big boy, he's been at the museum for as long as I can remember, so at least 20 years. He may have been there since the very beginning. I can't ever remember a time when he wasn't there. Big boy's a favorite for photo ops. He really resonates with a lot of people because it was a well-known restaurant. Now, we no longer have any Big Boys here, so you have to be, I guess, a certain age to remember Big Boy. But there are some still in other parts of the country. So every once in a while, you know, somebody will come through and go, oh, yeah, Big Boy. Yeah, we still have those at home. So kind of neat. Anyway, so last night I was thinking about this, and I started looking into kind of the history of him, and I was really surprised how much backstory there is on Big Boy. And I won't go into all of it, you know, mind you. That would not be all that interesting. But just a little bit of background. So Big Boy, for those of you that may not be old enough to remember, He's not only the name of the signature burger for Big Boy restaurants, but he's the mascot for what was originally Bob's Big Boy. The first Bob's was actually called Bob's Pantry. It was a little independent restaurant in California in 1936, and he created this double hamburger with a whole bunch of dressings and toppings on it, and that's what he called it, Big Boy. Over the next 3 decades, the restaurant was franchised and expanded. Bob, the owner, instituted standards and protocols for the food, but left a lot of decisions, left the franchisees a lot of latitude in different decisions. So this resulted in some clearly regional differences but in the marketing and the food. But the one thing that remained constant was the Big Boy image. Big Boy is no newcomer. Unlike his fellow burger mascots, Ronald, who didn't come around until 1963, and Jack, who was just a big clown head, first on top of the first restaurant in 1951, and then through the 50s, 60s, and into the 70s, some of you might remember that when you pulled up to the drive-thru, you talked to a big clown head. And of course, there were all kinds of jokes about that. But anyway, you talked to a big clown head. Along about 1980, they got rid of the clown head, and it wasn't until 1993 that Jack became the business mogul that we know today, the president of the company. So these guys are fairly recent. Big Boy, on the other hand, was first drawn in 1937, and he was drawn on a napkin for the price of, an exchange for a free lunch. And there will be some of you artists out there that will say, some things remain constant when it comes to artist compensation. But I digress. So Big Boy has undergone a number of changes over the years since 1937 or so. The original Big Boy, as you can see, was kind of a fat, kind of slovenly kid. Again, I digress. You know, changing of a logo is necessary to keep up the times. If you look at the difference between Burger King in the 60s and the famously frightening change to Burger King, which is what he became, and still freaks. Exactly, you'll get exposure. And still freaks people out. Yeah. Anyway, so there were a number of different changes to Big Boy over the years, as you can see. Adding to this possible confusion or difference was that there were actually different versions of East Coast Big Boy and West Coast Big Boy. There's also a whole lot of jokes you could make there, but I'm just going to say that, yes, he is scary. That the biggest difference was East Coast Big Boy was like this guy here. He was apparently kind of depicted sort of running, as opposed to the Big Boy that most of us know, who just kind of hangs out there and hoists a burger now and again. Anyway, so Big Boy early, was used for all kinds of, used in all common forms of merchandising and branding, signage, ashtrays. You remember you could smoke in restaurants, matchbooks, salt and pepper shakers, little figurines. There was a Big Boy comic book for decades, that I think was also independent of the restaurant. I mean, you could get it at the restaurant, but I think it kind of had its own cereal as well. Oh, so Heather, you know Running Big Boy. No, that's East Coast Big Boy. Anyway, you know Big Boy. And blue cheese dressing, I guess, was a thing it's been a while since we've had a Big Boy here, so I don't have a whole lot of recollection of him, or of the restaurants rather. Anyway, another way that they really used the image was in banks. And as I was kind of researching this a little bit, there must be hundreds of versions of these banks, hundreds of them, all different ones. But what I did notice was that, hi Patty, what I did notice was that most of the banks, especially the earlier banks and into the 60s and 70s, show them holding a suspenders as opposed to holding the burger. There are some later ones, and like the Funko version, the Funko's bobblehead. Anyway, we sold one in the gift shop for years that he was hoisting the burger, which unfortunately we can no longer get. Another Cali Watcher. I don't know what that means. Anyway, so there were lots of banks, but I think probably the most well-known of the merchandising would have been the statues that stood outside the restaurants. As I said, our big boy that we have at the museum has been here for years. And we used to know kind of before the internet, when we looked things up, we used to know where people would come from by the way that they referred to Big Boy when they came into the gift shop. And as I told you, we had those banks in there, and they'd say, oh, Frisch's Big Boy, or Bob's Big Boy, or Eliza's Big Boy, or whatever. And after a while, you got to know, you say, oh, well, why do you call it that? Where are you from? And you get to know that where people were from by the way that they would refer to Big Boy. In St. Louis, it was Totes Big Boy, and then later turned to Shoney's. Some of you might remember Shoney's, and then then somewhere in the 90s, they dropped the Big Boy association. But that's where it came from. And many of them had the Big Boy statues out on the front lawn. Top's Big Boy? Was it in Springfield, Kim? I wonder if that was because I wonder if it was related to the totes here. That was back in the 60s. You would not remember that. Yeah, Springfield. Anyway, so the statues themselves, various sizes. Some of the very early ones were up to 16 feet tall. They range from about 4 feet to 16 feet. Most of them, like our one at the museum, I think is right around 5 feet, something like that. As I said, the early versions have the right arm raised with the burger. The Wikipedia thing says that later versions of the statues showed them clutching suspenders. And I did not find any pictures of the big statues clutching suspenders. So I don't know if that was a misnomer or they're just so rare that you don't see them. I don't know. In later years, they started to run into some zoning ordinance conflicts. They would, I know. One place the owner had a problem with it because it didn't conform to signage restrictions, and he argued that it was a statue, and the city argued that it was a sign. So by simply removing the Big Boy from his T-shirt, from the statue's T-shirt, it then became art and a statue. There was another city in California, Norco, California, if any of you know it. I did not until now. But they were concerned that it wasn't Western enough. I'm going to have to move that lava light, aren't I? So their Big Boy became a cowboy and thereby passed the council restrictions. Anyway, so as I was going through and looking... I'll figure it out. So I was going through and looking at different statues. My God, I was really surprised at the amount of variations. So, and I apologize for all these pictures, but this is what I got because I don't have Big Boy here. So this is what I would consider the classic Big Boy. This is what I think of when I think of Big Boy. And this is our Big Boy at City Museum. So, of course, I think this is what I think of when I think of Big Boy. However, there are a lot of variations. You have heavy eyebrows Big Boy. Super heavy eyebrows Big Boy. You have overplucked eyebrows Big Boy. You got some rosy cheeks there. And you have no eyebrows, big boy. Now that's our big boy there at the museum. You have blue eyes, big boy. You have brown eyes, big boy. And that's one of those running guys. You have crazy eyes, big boy. And that one has the added caveat, the added savoir-faire of having flock of seagulls hair. On fleek, big boy, exactly. You have theatrical makeup. You have theater, big boy. And you have, big boy. He's really my favorite. He's really like, here's another burger for you. Crazy Guy's my favorite too. So, out of clearly thousands of these things, like I suppose, that existed, they're not surprisingly have a pretty exciting afterlife, shall we say. They've been remade into various things. There's Pizza Bob. Oh, I know what light that is. Well, I won't do that next time. This guy's been repurposed into a pizza waiter. You have Sub Sandwich Bob. And given a whole new outfit there. And a big old sub. There's Biker Bob. With the goatee. There is Detroit Bob. Made in Detroit Bob. Gen X big boy. Here we go. Most of us probably know somebody that looks like him, yeah? Love it. Here's a favorite. Resto Bob. He's in process, but if you notice, he's getting seriously crazy eyebrows and some brass knucks. Brass Knuckles Bob. We have what appears to be Terracotta Monument Bob. And sadly, there is also Graveyard Bob. Not that he's in a graveyard, but apparently that there is a... Oh, so High Boy still exists also, huh? That's good to know, I suppose. If we ever get to go anywhere again, we could go to KC and go to High Boy. Hi, Melissa. Yes, keep those banks. Maria, I just got them off the internet. It was the morning's research. Anyway, so there's Bob Graveyard. This is apparently another version of Bob Graveyard, although this just kind of looks like Bob Campground, which is pretty cool. But those last two actually came from Roadside Attractions, and roadsidearchitecture.com. So it's ROADARCH.com. And after I looked at a whole lot of stuff, I found that they actually have kind of a map of different places. I don't know if exactly a tour you could take, but different places that have not just Bob statues, but all kinds of big statues on there. They're separated by, Mufflermen and animals and Big Boy and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. Here's another favorite of my flock of seagulls, my flock of seabirds, Bob. That's quite the thing. Anyway, so if you want a Bob statue of your own, there are some things available out there currently. These are all things that I found this morning. So on Etsy, there is this sort of current kind of slimline slash Funko sort of interpretation. $1,500 and he could go in your front yard. We found the more house size friendly Pee Wee Herman Bob. He's only 16 inches tall, so he might be easier to place at $95. And then I also have Extreme Nose Job Bob, big aluminum guy, $1,800. He's just awkward looking. He's got a nice conch though. Look at that pompadour. Good looking hair. And then there is also a version of the overplucked brow and extreme side-eye bob available right now. And I also believe he was on eBay. It was either eBay or Etsy for $29.95. That is $2,995. An extreme side-eye overplucked brow bob could be yours. Probably the easiest thing to do, though, is just come to City Museum and get your own picture with Bob. There's still a big boy in Independence again. Yes, you're right, Amy. If we ever get to leave the house again, these would be nice road trips to take. Anyway, on your way, if you're on your way to Independence or Kansas City to go to Big Boys, you can stop at City Museum and get your picture with Bob. Stop and see us and say hello. All right, so much more I could say about Big Boy. I've been calling him Bob the whole time. Anyway, Big Boy. So much more I could say about Big Boy, but I hope you have enjoyed today's little look into fast food mascot history. Looking forward to when we can all see you safely come back to City Museum. Stop by and say hi to us. We're all in this together. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.